So welcome to Torridon. I left Glencoe about 12 o'clock today. It was blue skies above, not very suitable for landscape photography unless you're doing a little bit of infrared, which I have been doing on the way up. Behind me you can see the massive bulk of the Torridon peaks. Ben Eilean on the right hand side here, and we've got Leotock over on the left hand side. I'm going to stay in Torridon for 2 or 3 days. I'm conscious that the weather will change, so this sunny, calm conditions that are quite unusual in this part of the world are going to be replaced by rain and wind in the coming days. But nonetheless, what I hope to do in Torridon is a little bit of landscape photography to try to capture these mountains from good vantage points, and also a little bit of forest photography. There are plenty of Scots pine trees in the area, and some of the oldest Caledonian forests in Scotland are here. And that's one of the main reasons I was drawn to Torridon itself. As you know, if you've looked at some of my previous videos, I have a great love for Scots pine trees, and there's no shortage of them here to keep me entertained for 2 or 3 days. One area that I certainly will focus on is the Ben A National Park. I believe it's the first UK national park. At the start of the 20th century it was declared a park to save the Caledonian pines. Well, about a 12-minute drive from Torridon village we come across, it really is a picture postcard composition, a ready-made composition. And it's a well-trodden path down onto the lake shore. This is Loch from a parking area. It's at a cattle grid really, but there's plenty of room to park 1 or 2 cars up there. So with regards to ease of access, this is actually what I wanted this afternoon, a long drive from Glencoe and a busy morning this morning. So it's a nice way to end the day. I'm just waiting for a little bit of colour to light up that sky. So we've got the might of Leotock here, some lovely Scots pine trees, reflection of Leotock in the lake, and a few little reeds in the water. So I really couldn't have asked for anything more. At the moment my head is in the way of the light. Actually, you can't even see it on the camera here, but it's starting to light up, so it's looking good. And driving across here, it was one of those evenings or afternoons where there's a high altitudinal cloud but very dim light, as if all the light had been cancelled out as such. But now that the sun is going down towards the horizon, there's a little opening there, and I actually see a little bit of colour over in this direction. So it's a very simple setup here with regards to focal length. 28mm does the job. So I have the 24 to 120 Nikon on the Z8 here, single point focus, ISO 64, the usual. No filters whatsoever on the camera. I have taken 3 shots already, just test shots, and I do need to bracket, so an exposed shot, 1 stop below, 1 stop above, for the trees, for the sky, and that's really it. I think that's gonna catch. I think it is. So I'm going to get back to taking the photograph. So the first location that I selected, I thought I was comfortable there. I thought that was it. One it always pays to search around the area. And I moved into the water just below the level of my welly boots to have some reeds there in the foreground. I think my favourite composition here this evening is just plain and simple, which is water reflection sky, which is what we see in front of us here. Look at that. Look at that colour, isn't it just magic? After the wonderful sunset last night, the weather has taken a turn here in Torridon. This is the southern shore of Loch Marie. Some would describe it as the most beautiful loch in the whole of Scotland. And I had wanted today to spend the day photographing the beautiful Scots pine trees, the lone Scots pine trees on the lake shore. But it's not the day for it. Oh, the light is horrendous. It's grey. There's a pretty strong wind blowing, and that's going to increase during the afternoon. And tomorrow it's going to bring a lot of rain with it. But that's not to put a damper on today or tomorrow. But with regards to taking a photograph of the tree behind me at the moment, I'm up at 1/640th of a second, and I'm still not getting the needles sharp. And that means the ISO goes up with it to about, 1250 or so. And that's not the end of the world, because these modern cameras are very capable of handling high ISOs. So it is feasible to photograph trees in a high breeze, such as today. But there's no real value in it, because the photograph will be a reference photograph, because the light just isn't there to help matters. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go to next. I know there's another little tree across the mound here, I've seen it. So I may just take a couple of reference shots. I might be tempted to go back and get the infrared camera from the van and try to do these trees justice in the light that I'm presenting. It's blowing a gale now. I took an infrared image, and considering the circumstances, I don't think it's a bad image, and I'm going to work that, and I'll put that up on the screen now. But as I look from the angle that you're viewing this video from, it's quite a nice angle for the tree, and I have my video camera in a sheltered spot. So I think I need to get out of this wind and rain, and we'll take one more shot. As they say, God loves a trier, and the exercise here, it's just great being out in the great outdoors. And if nothing else, this morning has served to work some compositions, which is a practice that is worth doing regardless of whether there's light around to make a beautiful image. Well, the storm that's battering Scotland at the moment, you get a sense of it here from behind me, and I've been literally stuck in the camper van for the past day and a half, and probably for the rest of the day. So I thought I'd venture out across the moorland, because there's no trees here, just a very strong wind, so I feel safe enough, and along the shore of the lake. But there's some nice little compositions that happened to be in the car park that I was forced to pull into yesterday morning when the wind just got too much to drive in. And the winds have increased very much overnight and this morning. They decreased about an hour ago, and I ventured out for a walk. You'll probably get a feel for it. I'm going to venture back again. I get a cup of tea and secure myself in the camper van. I came across this lovely Scots pine tree, and look at those waves breaking there. It has to be a handheld shot and taken very quickly. I tried infrared and a colour image, and I hope that the image, the composition is ill considered.
But I hope that the image itself is, shows the power of this storm and the resilience of that little Scots pine sitting out in the lake on its own. So until the next location, and I'm not sure where that will be, because I'm due to get the ferry back on Sunday. It's Friday today, and the winds here are going to remain high overnight tonight. So I'm just going to stay tight in the car park behind me, with safety first and foremost in mind. My primary reason for visiting Torridon, apart from the magnificent mountains and lakes, is to see the colour of the autumn woodland in October here at Benay National Park, one of the most ancient Caledonian rainforests in Scotland. And this afternoon the storm has abated a little bit, so I said I have to experience this forest before I go home. And the light is awful, and the wind is blowing a gale, so I've upped the ISO. I think it's at 1250, 250th of a second, just to try to take home a little bit of this magnificent woodland. Well, on the road from Torridon to Glencoe, it really would have been rude not to stop at Eilean Donan Castle here. I've been here a number of times before, and I've never had the castle with the tide in, so I consider myself lucky in that regard. Additionally, there's very little wind, so there's nice reflections on the loch here. I'm just waiting really for the rain to stop and the wind to ease down, so those reflections are as good as I can get. Light, flat as a pancake, but it actually suits the castle in many respects. I was waiting for a little bit of direct light. The sun was threatening to peep through the clouds, but it hasn't done so. So I think I am happy enough with the shot here, and we'll move on to Glencoe. Well, it's my final day here in Scotland, and I've returned to the waterfall, the very well-known photographic location underneath Buccleuch of Moor, with the birch tree on the left of the frame in glorious colour. The timing here for the colour of the birches, I just couldn't have got it better. Now we're just waiting for a little bit of light to hit that mountain. Well, it goes to show it really does pay to visit a location time and time again. I've been to Scotland 3 times, and I've visited this location, this wonderful waterfall, the birch tree, and Buccleuch of Moor, I think 4 times on those visits. Never have I had light like this, and the sun is turning very bright, the white light. But still, look at that, look at the cloud behind the Buccleuch. The whole Buccleuch lit up, and over the last 10 minutes we've seen the light sink from the top of the mountain, catching the top all the way down. And I've been underexposing greatly to try to create a contrast between the light on the mountain and the sky behind. And only in the last 2 minutes the light has hit the birch tree on the left here. And again, I've been shooting various exposures, taking a lot of images, just so I have options when I get home to process this. The worry is always the composition, because where the camera is now is obviously too far back, too wide,
So we want to get the little waterfall here, the tree and the buccal. And I have a rainbow coming into play now. Oh my God. So I'm going to get back to the camera and have the polarizer on and try to catch this rainbow before it disappears. Okay.